Like, how is America racist?
All right. Are you familiar at all with the concept of structural racism?
Yeah, it's a myth.
No, it's
not. So tell me why it's true.
Okay, so
not outcomes. Tell me why it's true.
So the textbook that you hearken back to in the 1950s, right? I found one of those in Virginia. It was in publication from five. Yep. And so when we think about, like, how do you design curriculum that's historically accurate, that doesn't talk about oppression, that doesn't talk about one group being oppressed over the other, right? And so when you look at that Virginia textbook, I certainly don't argue that that's what we're looking at heading back towards. But my guess is if you were to try to write a curriculum that covers, slavery in the U.S. or the, Holocaust or whatever, and not, give the narrative that this group did this horrible thing to the other group, you're going to have to rely on some pretty...
But it wasn't groups, though. That's incorrect. Not every white person was a slave owner.
Well, that doesn't matter, though, because,
9 out of 13 states abolished slavery by the time of constitutional
and here's the other
ratification.
thing. I mean,
it's not like every white person was supportive. In fact, we had abolitionists at the time of the founding.
Exactly.
So why would you say one group?
Well, I mean, it's not. You don't have to have every white person do
No, in fact, the
something,
majority of white people found slavery to be reprehensible at the founding.
I don't know that if we would have pulled segregation
No, we did, actually,
in the 50s, we would have found that.
Let's start with slavery. 9 out of 13 states abolished slavery by the time of constitutional ratification.
Yeah, then why did the South secede?
Well, they seceded post-Cotton Gin for economic reasons. We went to war over it, though. To say that America...
No, you guys, the South declared war because they expected Lincoln to ban slavery.
And he ended up doing it.
Well, not for a long time. You know why? Because he wanted the fight to be about national unity, which is a good way to, I think, come wrapping around, right? National unity. So like, the first few years of the Civil War, he did not expressly say this war is about ending slavery.
He got to it.
And he later got to that because the South was more passionate and the North needed
No, I know, but let's go. I mean, but you said something I want to focus on, though. One group doing something to the other. Like, that's just not true, right? It would be a small group of white people that exploited incorrectly a group of black people.
I think the crowds that would show up for the lynchings, according to research that I've read, numbered in like 5,000. And they would mail, they would take pieces.
Why was slavery being abolished?
Pieces of like these people's bodies and
not supporting
souvenir them, right?
But
like that is not a small,
that's
not a small group of people. That's not an isolated event.
But, I mean, in certain states it was widespread.
A massive systemic problem, right?
9 states abolished it. Thomas Jefferson wrote in the original draft of the Declaration to King George, admonishing him for bringing slavery. The first ever anti-slavery convention was in Philadelphia, chaired by Benjamin Franklin in 1775. Thomas Jefferson got rid of the importation of new slaves in 1807. Guess what? None of that stuff's taught in our schools right now.